The Nigerian Defense Minister Alhaji Mohammed Badaru Abubakar has resigned his appointment with immediate effect. In a letter dated December 1st, sent to President Bola Tinubu, Abubakar said he was quitting on health grounds. President Tinubu has accepted the resignation and thanked Abubakar for his services to the nation. These and many more stories will be coming your way this morning. Good morning to you, our dearest viewers, and welcome to today's edition of Now Streaming Morning Show on ACNNTV. I am Princess Clement, your anchor for today's program. And as usual, I'm not alone in the studio. With me this morning are Mr. Chibu Ike Iro Egbu. He is Akadi Program Officer, and Joy Chidi Okpara Ojiagu, Admin Officer. Welcome to the studio. It's nice meeting you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much, gentlemen and lady. Okay, please, viewers, before we go into today's discussion segment, let's take a look at some trending stories on the front pages of our national daily newspapers. Don't forget, viewers, to call in using the phone number on your screen to share your thoughts or send your comments on our YouTube channel, Facebook, and other social media platforms. Your thoughts are valuable. We'll be moving to the topic of the day, which is Unite to End Digital Violence Against Women and Girls. And luckily for us this morning, we have capable hands from Akadi. So happy to have you with me on this. I really appreciate all of you. So I want to ask you, I'm talking to you, Nanchibike, have you or someone you know experienced GBV or cyberbullying? How did you feel about it, if you are the person or the other person?
Thank you very much for that question. Well, directly, I've not been in that position. Although growing up, I was very roughly bullied.
Wow.
By by some of seniors while I was in the school. And I understand what it means to bully people. In fact, I got to a point where my voice was silenced. I can't express myself where my equals are. And it is humiliating. It's dehumanizing.
Absolutely.
It's something that one shouldn't even think about. Gender-based violence, whether it is to the person that is your equal or to the person that you're superior to, is a no-no. It's something that I believe one shouldn't even experience. And of course, talking about the things I've also heard, I know I've heard quite a lot about gender-based violence meted out to both women, both men, both boys and girls, both in the church setting and in the society at large. And it's something that everybody must discourage and something that we all must stand against to be able to stop it. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Chibike, Joy, I'll come to you. What do you make of this gender-based violence? What is it about?
Okay, gender-based violence itself, it's meant to be violence against any gender, any form of violence, any gender, against any gender. But now we're talking about digital gender-based violence. That's where you come to cyberbullying and all other forms of gender-based violence online. You know, first we have dealt with, like, we keep dealing with gender-based violence in the space. We have had so many cases recently about Ochanya, so many other cases of girls that have been violated. But now coming to the digital space is even more concerning, because at least with the physical one, or with the one we can see, you can get the person or the individual, the perpetrator of the violence, and you can know justice can be done. But now when it's online, it's a different case scenario, because the internet is broad, like it's global. Where do you begin? Where do you start from? Where do you curtail the violence from? So I feel with digital violence is even a worst case scenario, because the person in question just keeps suffering, like they're suffering of depression, anxiety, anger, mistrust, and all other consequences, because there is no way to get justice for this person. So I feel it's more concerning. So it's a very good strategy that the UN Charter for this year's 16 Days Against Activism Against Gender-Based Violence is really focused on digital violence.
So I'll put it to you again, just like I did to Chibuike now. Have you ever been a victim before, or you know someone practically around you that is a victim, and how did you feel about the whole scenario?
Personally, I haven't been a victim of violence on
Lucky you,
online.
right?
Will I say I'm lucky because
Of course, you're lucky. So
because
it means you don't have any form of trauma.
yeah,
dealing with.
I don't. But also, when you see stories online about people that have actually gone through stuff, or you hear stories about it, because of how empathetic you are towards the situation, it feels very sad. So I haven't, but I know of the problems that people are facing, young girls are facing, women are facing, men are facing, because in regards to violence. So personally, I haven't, but there are definitely very horrible stories online out there. There's a lot of stories.
Okay, we all know that gender-based violence against women and girls are pressing issue globally. Is that not so? Now, I want to understand your organization, ACADI. They must have a lot of testimonies and evidences here and there. Which of them are you so much about that you can share with us? Experience that you feel traumatized or you feel somehow about one of them?
So ACADI itself, the Anglican Compassion and Development Initiative, we don't really deal with the survival cases personally, but what we do is we have referral pathways. So maybe to medical, to health, to law for justice, like FIDA, the Federation of Lawyers International, and the police, the OC Gender. When it comes to cases we have had, which one will strike me more, I'm not too sure. But there was a story we had from one of our desk officer in Lagos about a certain lady that was being violated from home. Like her, but this is more physical violence. Like the husband, I think who she was staying with, her husband at that time was physically assaulting her. So she had to run from home. But the good thing was now they had started this intervention where we are talking about it. So she knew someone to reach out to. That's the good thing with interventions like this. So she reached out to the desk officer, and immediately I think he gave us a call about what to do, and then he was able to refer her to the lawyers in Lagos, to departments that can cater to her services, both mental services, health, medical, and otherwise. I think that was one of the striking cases, because the pictures she showed, the pictures they were sent to us were very gruesome. She had wounds on her eyes, several sets of beaten. So I think that's one of the cases I can say that's the one that's stuck in my mind at the moment. Yeah.
All right, I think that is good. All right, I want to ask you, Chibike, what can you do to be a supporter to a survivor of GBV and cyberbullying? We know these things are rampant, especially cyberbullying. You can't open your phone freely per day and not have a case to deal with. So what do you have to say? What can we do, or what can the society do to help out?
Just as Joyce said, it's really quite pathetic when you go to the online space where it's expected that you're supposed to network, get quality people that come to your life and aid your life. And then you begin to hear a lot of things that goes on in that space. There are quite a lot of things that we can do. One of the things you can do as a means to support the survivors is first to show empathy. You cannot treat someone who you don't love. You cannot bring someone out from a mire when you have not quite understood what the person feels. And that is how you show empathy, putting yourself on the person's stance to understand how the person feels. And then secondly, we must be able to start creating safe spaces. There are cases where you cannot manage it when the survivor is still in that environment, because environment, I'm a biologist. There are two things that determines somebody's upbringing: the gene and the environment where the person is subjected to. So we need to begin to look at how do we create safe spaces where the people can be free to talk, where the people can be free to express themselves, and then be able to get remedy to their challenges. And then when we started, Joy alluded to the fact that there are quite a lot of laws, but we have weak implementation of some of these laws. When we begin to, of course, if a perpetrator sees that if I do this, I can't go free, you will begin to, that will be quite instructive to other people who may be attempting to do the same thing. So we must be able to strengthen our implementation systems, especially our laws. We have a lot of laws. We have the VAP law. In fact, if you get to the VAP law, if you read it, you will see that everything, including this technological influence violence, are all enshrined as to what needs to be done and how that can be remedied. And then, but the problem is that most times, even the states that have domesticated it are not enforcing it. It's true they have domesticated it, they have made it their own, but enforcement is weak. Now, we have a lot of statistics about 16 to 58% of women and girls faces this issue of online and technological influence violence. In sub-Sahara section alone, part of the world alone, we have about, I think now it's about 28% of people that pass through some of this violence, especially the technological influence violence. So strengthen the laws, create a safe space, teaching, advocacy, networking. There are people that have done these things. There are people that have gotten results. I was reading something while I was preparing for this meeting about Costa Rica. They have advanced in their ways of mitigating cyber bullying and all this technological influence, gender-based violence. We can leverage on what they have done. We can study from them and then be able to implement the things they have done. If it worked somewhere, it certainly would work in another place.
No, definitely. Thank you very much, BK. Joy, I'm coming to you. What are some ways to hold perpetrators accountable for their actions? He quite mentioned a lot of things that we can use to help them. What are the ways we can use to help them?
The perpetrators?
Yes, the perpetrators.
Okay.
Because most of them, they deny these things.
Yeah.
You can't even hold them accountable. If you're not careful enough, they will rope even you yourself that is trying to advocate against this.
That's very true. Thank you very much. As Mr. Chibike as well said, there are laws already in the system of Nigeria that are actually against this to hold perpetrators to justice, which is the VAP law and the Child Rights Act law as well. But the problem with this is the implementation. Implementation is a very big challenge in Nigeria. Like, as I said, there are about 33 or 34 states. They have domesticated these laws, but implementation and enforcement of the law is the problem. So, quite all right. Yes, we want to hold perpetrators to justice, but how many cases can we see that have been convicted? Because there's one thing about reporting a case of gender-based violence. Where's the conviction? Where's the justice? Because the problem that people don't understand is once you don't convict a perpetrator, you also put the survivor at risk.
Of course.
Because obviously now she has said, oh, this is the person that committed this against me, and the person is free. Even if they've taken the person to court, they have talked about it, but with the whole process, the way things go on in Nigeria, and there is no enforcement, the person is not brought to book, there is no justice, the survivor is at risk because the person cannot say, oh, who now reported me, can now go back or trace back to whoever the person is and implement more violence on the person. So the fact that we want to say, because there's also the way people say, okay, maybe counseling services for the perpetrator, if we cannot bring the person to justice, let's counsel the person. But what are you giving the survivor? What assurance are you giving the survivor that this person is not going to come back and inflict more violence on me? So the enforcement of these laws are the major issues. Enforcement of these laws are the major issues, because at the end of the day, it's the laws and policies that guide the nation. It's the laws and policies that guide the people. So there is no other way than you say law or justice. Yes, there's counseling. You want to counsel the perpetrator. But I still feel as a perpetrator of violence, you need to be brought to justice. Whether you want to counsel, whether you want to go the pastoral way or not, that's fine. But the person needs to get justice for whatever the person has done. Because that's the only way you give a survivor the assurance that, oh, what you have said, we have seen what has happened, we have brought justice to your case as well. Because another thing is this: if you don't bring justice to a survivor's case, somebody else will not want to report.
Of course.
Because that's the problem. You don't, let's say there's so many people that have reported cases of gender-based violence. Then others that have not reported, they will not be wondering, so those people that have reported, what happened to them? What has happened? So now you want me to now come and say the same thing, come and give my story. What's the assurance you're giving me? So that's the thing. We need to bring They need to get justice for what they have done.
All right,
they need to get justice for what they have done.
Viewers, don't forget to call in using the number on your screen to share your thoughts concerning the topic of the day. As you can hear from our guest in the studio, a lot of persons are running away from confronting their fears. The perpetrators are becoming, they are gaining more spaces because there are a lot of enablers. The people you report to will not even take action. They won't take you serious. Oftentimes you see issues like they will start asking you questions from where. When did it happen? Where were you? What happened? What did you do? And things like that. You'll be wondering. This is somebody that has done something so terrible. Accountability is key. That is what we are saying. If you catch somebody doing something, once the person has been reported, I think it is justice for you to be able to act instantly. Don't even promote any form of promotion, because you are going to put the person that report this case at risk. And a lot of persons definitely will not want to take such chances. All right, how can we create safe space for survivors to share their stories, knowing fully well with what you have said now that most people don't like to talk about their issues, the victims are always scared of coming out. How now can we create a safe place for them?
Okay. Thank you very much.
Because stories must be shared.
Yes, they have to be shared. Because you just actually threw light on it as well as you were talking. The best way to create safe spaces for people to talk is actually having people that are trauma-informed and gender-responsive too. So it's not... You can't just bring someone and say, oh, he's a counselor, so you can speak to them about whatever you have passed through. Has this person been trained? Has this person been trained on trauma healing? Because there's one thing to speak to just a person that hasn't been trained and someone that has been trained. Because when you speak to someone that has been trained about cases like this, they know how best to respond to you. Like when somebody that is a survivor is speaking to you, you're not asking them questions. You're listening without judgment. So there's a difference between listening, because people listen to ask back, but listen without judgment. Because some people ask you, oh, what were you wearing? What were you doing? Oh, what did you do that enhanced this? That's not the way. That as a counselor, or as a facilitator, or as somebody that is meant to give a support space to someone like this, you don't say questions like that. So the person has to be trained on trauma healing as well. That's one way to create safe spaces. And listen without judgment. When they come to you and speak, listen without judgment. Like, let them express themselves. Let them say whatever happened. Let them say their story from beginning to end. I know sometimes people can say, oh, I'm not judging, I'm not saying anything, but your face as well.
The expression is there.
Exactly.
Like what you said, right? Somebody said the way you looked at the man must have made him to
do what
bounce
he did.
on you. Like how many men will not bounce on a girl on the street?
Just by men looking.
Just by men looking.
You can imagine. So yeah, if you have people that are actually trained on stuff on how to provide healing or provide counseling services to people, that's one step in the right direction. As well, prevention is always the best step as well. The best way to stop gender-based violence is prevention. The more we talk about it, the more people know about it. So people know, oh, this, because you can get to the street now, so people don't even know some forms of violence. Like this, we're talking about digital violence, so people don't even know they have been violated digitally. They don't think it's a problem. That maybe somebody said a passing comment to them online, they're like, oh, it's just a man being a man, or it's just a girl being a girl. That's it. That is, you're being assaulted or violated and you didn't even know. So awareness, the more we talk about it, the more we bring awareness to the topic, and the more people, and that's also how you bring about prevention as well. So I think one of those two are very, very important key steps in providing safe spaces for persons that have gone through violence. Yes.
All right, thank you very much, Joy. Chibike, how can young people, men and boys within faith communities be meaningfully engaged in campaigns against cyberspace GBV and in promoting positive masculinity online? She made mention of something. Sometimes, and you said something too about environment. Sometimes people don't even see these things as bad. They just feel it's normal for men to do this. It's normal for a man. A rare case that happened while I was coming, the taxi driver picked a lady before the man. And when the man came to the bus stop, he said the lady should step down for him to sit where the lady is saying, don't you know I'm a man? I'm a man. I'm the head of whatever. And the story was funny because I was looking at him. What brought about being a man here? I think humanity first in anything we are doing. So please share your thoughts on that.
You know, I often ask people questions, and the question is this. At what point did we get to when we begin to allow good girls to marry bad boys?
That is deep.
Because that's exactly why this thing is being reinforced every now and then. Because when you get to the house, trainings are always focused on the girl child.
Yes.
How to be a good wife, how to cook, how to do house chores. In fact, you get to some houses, boys are in the sitting room, crossing their legs, watching football. When the house is not clean, it's not about why is the house not clean. It's about you're a woman. Why is the house not kept the way it should be? You come into a house, food is not cooked, as if boys don't have hands. As if men cannot get into the kitchen and prepare food. I've seen a lot of cases of violence, and the cause for the violence is that food was not ready before I came in. You went to work, the woman went to work, and you expect the woman to just come back, jump into the kitchen, and maybe two of you came back at the same time. And you now go to the parlor and sit down, and you are calculating your time to find out when the food should be ready, and when it's not ready, there's already a problem in the house. Now we need to begin intentionally to train the boy child. And I want to really congratulate the Church of Nigeria Anglican Communion. Kudos to our primates. There is this thing that has been introduced now, the Anglican Boys Fellowship. That is a breeding ground to be able to make bad boys become good boys. So that when you finish training your good girls, they can meet good boys to marry. I'm not training a good girl to end up in the house of a bad boy.
That's true. Who
sags, who believes that food must be kept as at when due, who believes that I am the king in my house. In fact, I met, funny enough, I met someone a few days ago who were just talking. And of course, he's a bachelor, he's not married. And I was asking him, I said, what are you really looking at? He said me, my own stake is very high when it has to do with finding a woman to marry. And he began to enumerate the qualities. He said, the woman must know how to cook. The woman must know how to keep things. If I keep something this way, the woman must know how to arrange it. And I was asking him, so what will you do? Because positive masculinity is not only by muscle. It's you being able to set the example by doing. And I have understood that the best way to set the example is by doing.
Exactly.
That almost affected me when I got married. Let me just share this story because it's something that I always tell people.
It's very important.
When I got married, I'm a perfectionist. I believe things should be done rightly.
Excellent.
As you come into the house, if I keep my phone here, my phone should be there. I don't want you to change it, and I hate looking for things. I married a lady who believes that the house is our house. So anywhere things are, things should be there. Now, it became a challenge because I'm now wondering, how do I begin to bring this lady to understand that this is who I am? And the more I keep making excuses to change her, the more I began to discover that the problem lies with me. And one of the days, I was just praying and the Holy Spirit told me something. He said, any price you pay for peace in your house is wisdom. I took that word. Do you know what I started doing? When I come into the house, this is how I want my phone to be. And my phone is not like that. I will go and take that phone and put it the way it ought to be. Over time, she did not understand what I was doing.
Wisdom.
She will come in, she will see that what she scattered, I have arranged it. I will drop something and maybe she utter it. I will go and carry it in her presence. I will bring it where it ought to be. And she was observing it. And what was I doing? I was trying to deploy my positive masculinity to teach her that this is how things ought to be. And how did I start teaching? Not by forcing her or coercing her. I started by doing it. Do you know, over time, what almost became a trouble in my house began to give way to peace. And over time, when she sees me and sees something that is not in order, she wants to put it right without me saying anything. There was no brutality. There was no coercion. Nobody is holding anybody at the neck and saying, you must do it my own way. And that is something we must begin to start teaching the boy child. That positive masculinity is shown in empathy, is shown in love, is shown in patience, is shown in tolerance, is shown in understanding that you yourself that needs perfection is not so perfect. And if you must get to perfection, you must do it by constant practice. They say Rome was not built in a day.
That's all.
And if you must get something rightly, you must give it time. And the Bible says that time and chances happeneth to them all. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Chibike. This is a very good example. You know, most times men just want to be that man, that lion of the tribe of their kingdom.
I'm the man of the house.
While the woman will be there, so probably sobbing.
For the neck of the kingdom.
All right, that was a good one. Ambassador of peace.
Yeah, and it pays off.
It pays off. So I hope you are learning. Viewers, please don't forget to call in using the number on your screen to share your thoughts, your experiences. You don't know who will be learning. You don't know who will benefit. All right, Joy, how can faith-based organization like Acadi help provide trauma-informed, gender-responsive support for digital space GBV survivors?
Thank you very much. That's a very good question.
Thank you, Joy.
Because we are Acadi as well. So how can we provide this support? First of all, I think training is one of the first things on the platform. So we need to train. Like even us as ourselves, we need to get training, because the only way to give care or give support to people is by training, is by learning how to do it, because you can't learn anything if you have not been trained on how to do it. So I feel training of the people, of the persons that actually are providing this support directly to these survivors is the first key aspect. We need to get trained on trauma-informed support services. First, training for both us as the organization, your staff, as well as your desk officers, because you have desk officers in different states across our dioceses that help with these GBV cases, or that implement it in their dioceses. So training of your desk officers, training of every person that you feel like is going to be a leader in some sort of way in providing these services. So all these persons need to be trained on how to provide them. And the second one I would say is partnership. Collaborative partnership because us as an organization, as a faith-based organization ourselves, we can't do it alone, because digital violence and every other form of gender-based violence, they are involving different actors. There's the religious aspect, the religious actor is there, the health, the medical, the health, medical, the legal, as well as even security come into hand, the police. As now with digital violence, even a different way, we have to bring in the technological systems. So we have our social media platforms, the people, the organizers of these technological platforms and all of that. You need to bring them as well into partnership. So collaboration and partnership with these different actors will help in providing this support, because one person can't do it alone. The fact that if we are offering the religious aspect, the psychological support, the pastoral care, the health aspect is going to be providing mental health. There's going to be persons providing legal services. There are going to be persons providing security for the survivor. Other persons providing maybe trying to stop the digital violence, like blocking accounts and stuff like that. So collaborative efforts is one way positive to get all these actions or get the support services going. So training and collaborative efforts, I feel, is the best two or most important ways to help provide solutions to this and support services of a survivor.
All right, thank you very much. Someone just shared a story. Ada grew up in a home where her father never raised his voice, and her mother solved problems with calm conversations. When Ada entered university, people admired her gentle spirit. She never insulted anyone, never argued, never fought. What people didn't know was that peace was her mother tongue. One day, her roommate asked Ada, "Why don't you ever shout back?" Ada smiled and replied, "Because I was raised in a home where shouting meant we had already lost the argument." Ada's environment shaped her calmness. I think that is one thing you laid emphasis on.
From the beginning.
Yes, from the beginning. Environment has a lot to do with how we react, what we do to other people, probably from our own home. If your father or your mother is very, very aggressive, there is every tendency that when you come out there in the society, you are going to project such character to other people. Probably innocent people will be victimized by you. So it is very important for us to correct this from our home, from our very home. All right, let me ask you this. What is the responsibility of religious institutions to address cyberspace GBV within their online communities and platforms? Our men of God and women of God are online. There is no two ways about that. Some of us, because of home training, we can't post some things. Because our daddy geos and mommy geos, we're there to see what we are writing. We will not want to tarnish where we are coming out from. You understand our environment. Now, what do you think? these religious people should do more in their spaces, in their community, to promote, to address cyberspace GBV within their online spaces?
Thank you very much. When you were asking that question, I was just reflecting on something. It's important to also understand that in as much as we all believe that we are in the digital era, not all our clergymen are digitally inclined. Okay? And that's the first place we need to start.
Literacy.
Train our religious leaders. Get them to understand, because if you're not ahead of those you are leading, you can't lead them. If you're pastoring a church where 99% of the congregants are technologically savvy, and you are, let me not use this word daft, but you are someone who is not skilled in the technological aspect of ministry, and then you are going to have a lot of problem. There's also something I want to advocate that churches start doing. Let's churches start having a communication desk. It's very important, because whatever that you put out there as a church has a lot to do with your image and reputation. And of course, when it is not well managed, the assumption, the avowed assumption will be that this is how this church behaves.
Of course.
This is how this church acts. Another thing is that the religious leaders must start speaking up. Speaking up, there are quite a lot of norms and stereotypes that have reinforced gender-based violence in our churches, in our society. What are they doing? They are supposed to be people that speak truth to power. What are they doing in that direction? And of course, if you're not informed, you will be deformed.
Of course.
So information is the right key for these people to actually know what is happening. There is something also Akadi has done lately. We started lately to target our theological schools. Where are these clergy people? Where are they trained? Where are they coming from? What is the background? What is their knowledge about this gender-based violence? And what we did is that through the help of our primate, our father, Most Reverend Henry C. Ndukuba, we went to the 8 theological schools. And we domesticated this gender-based violence in their curriculum. Now, what that implies is that as they are passing through training, they are understanding how to mitigate issues of gender-based violence when they arise. Because whether you like it or not, it will come.
Yes.
If it is not between priests, it is priest and member. In fact, I had a situation in Port Harcourt one time. My brother's church, I witnessed it, that they literally chased the priest out from the church. And they shut the church door for the priest to come in. Now, cases like that happen, and it happens across every other diocese. Maybe they are underreported, but these things are happening. Now, how do you begin to train a priest to understand how to mitigate issues of violence in the church? Is through training. How do you get them to a level where they can begin to know how to respond to some of these things? She mentioned counseling. Unfortunately, today, we don't have a lot of trained counselors on the issues of gender-based violence. Because people think counseling is just about telling you, open a scripture and tell you, Jesus said this, Jesus said that. If I cannot see what Jesus said in your life, then I can't follow it.
Yes.
So these counselings must be intentional counselings. They are counselings that should be able to come to a point where you'll be able to speak truth to the conscience of people. And lastly, the church should be able to start looking at creating safe spaces. When people come to church, maybe they run away from their home and come to church and say, my husband is chasing me with cutlass. What do? Do you ask the lady, the Lord said 2 has become 1. Go back to your house.
Which is the case.
Which is what is happening today.
Yes, that is what happened.
That's what's happening today.
The case of, what is her name again? Osinachi and the rest. I'm sure she must have had little...
Possibly because of her stature and every other thing. She didn't want anything to mediate in that matter, but some people are aware in the church.
Yes, that is my point.
They are aware in the church. So I come to you and you now start preaching that the Lord said, I hate divorce, and then I should die in my home because these things are happening.
Okay, because of time, let me just go next because I wanted adding to this, okay. But then because of time, let me go to you, Joy. How does the privacy, confidentiality, and global reach of the internet affect survivors' ability to seek help and the ability of faith communities to provide timely support? Remember we mentioned that earlier.
Yes.
In most cases, the perpetrator must have even gone,
yes.
ran away or something else. Then
true.
you are there. And you may have his kind of enablers, his friends, his parties, who will be there to frustrate you the more because you have touched what they think shouldn't be touched, unknowingly to them that the person was actually guilty. So please, what do you think the church should do concerning this confidentiality and how to protect victims?
Thank you very much for that question. As I say, I think I mentioned it at the beginning as well. With digital violence, with this form of gender-based violence now, which is a technological facilitated one, another known way, or another way to describe it, digital violence, in this case, it's a bit broad in the aspect that the person could be anywhere in the world. Anything performed online, because the internet is global. So you can't really specify now, oh, where is this person? Or best person, maybe say the person's in Abuja, person's in Lagos. But no, we can't say. With the internet, it makes it a very big reach. Like there's a global reach. We can't pinpoint where do we get this perpetrator? How do we bring perpetrator to justice? That's the problem now with digital violence. So I feel that is one way. That's why I feel like if we have collaborative efforts with these technological platforms, the owners of Facebook, all these platforms that we have, if you have collaborative efforts with them, you can find a way to, I don't know, maybe they can do it technologically, with the IT gurus and all of that.
Okay.
They can find a way to get the person or get the handle or, I don't know, block the person from getting to this person in other platforms.
All right.
So that is one way to do it. But also, I feel at the end of the day, the prevention is better, or what they call it, digital literacy.
Yes.
Trying to get people to understand how to use the phone, how to be online. Because there are certain things you shouldn't be doing. I know every day, these days, people are so free to do a lot. So it's good that we train people, get them literate or get them literated on how to be on the online space and stuff like that.
I love that.
So,
thank you very much.
Yeah.
I want to get your last word so that we can round up because of time.
Okay. Be mindful what you put out there. Perpetrator will use what you put to track you. Most times people do content with everything. And one thing we must understand is that the internet never forgets.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You might think you have succeeded in making the money now. It will haunt you tomorrow.
And your children.
And your children will be able to look at some of these things.
Okay, thank you very much. Your last word in just 2 seconds, if not.
Just buttressing on what he said, be mindful what you put out there, as well as be informed of what you're doing online. Be informed on what you're doing online. That's just the word, be informed.
Thank you very much. My profound thanks to our special guest here with me, sharing their wealth of knowledge. Today's program is so massive. And thank you so much, our amazing viewers, for staying with us. Without you, I can't do this alone. Let's remember that we cannot heal oppression by pretending it doesn't exist. We cannot cure insecurity by closing our eyes. We cannot fix bad governance by remaining silent. But we can build a society where justice flows like water, free, fair, and fearless. Injustice doesn't discriminate. It affects everyone eventually. When we ignore injustice, we put ourselves at risk. Justice is a fundamental right, not a privilege. We must speak up for those who can't, defend the vulnerable, and challenge unjust systems. By doing so, we restore hope and protect society. We have come to the end of today's now streaming program on ACNNTV. Till we come your way again with another beautiful story. Same station at the same time tomorrow. Kindly stay safe. I remain Princess Clement. Bye for now.